Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy just spoke at Newark, New Jersey's International Airport to highlight the reopening of a key runway. Of course, it's a much-needed facelift 2 weeks ahead of schedule, as this airport, it has been plagued with many headlines, problems with equipment, problems with hiring, infrastructure issues. So let's listen in to what he had to say there from Newark.
Today we're celebrating the opening of Newark's runway. And this is a 60-day project that actually is completed 13 days early. And we all couldn't be more grateful to the Port Authority, everyone who worked so hard, the unions, the labor that worked to make sure this happened. They were working around the clock, 24/7, to make sure they could complete the project before that 60-day time frame. And what is interesting is I think you were going to beat the time frame by a couple days, but when they saw some of the issues that were happening here at Newark, they actually ramped it up even more. And again, this is a great day to celebrate the opening of the runway. And it goes to a broader point in regard to the issues that we're having here. What you're seeing is everyone who touches the problem is giving their full-hearted effort. They're leaning into the problem and helping fix the problem. From the Port Authority, again, 13 days early, opening the runway today. But you've also heard we have a telecom problem. And so we had a glitch in the system. The FAA did a remarkable job fixing the glitch in our software. But then Verizon stood up and said, you know what? We are going to make this a priority. We're going to fix the not-so-great line that goes from the Philly Tracon up to N90 here in New York. And they did that in record time, in less than a month's time. Now, that new fiber line's not stood up yet because we're testing it. Right now, it has to be tested. The FAA has some pretty laborious testing procedures, which is, we appreciate that, Chris, thank you. But that process is underway and, again, happening very quickly. By the way, after that, we're laying fiber from N90 to Newark, but the line from N90 to Newark has not been a real issue for us. So, again, everybody who touches the problem stands up and helps fix the problem. In regard to controllers, so that's been a big topic of conversation. You all know that we're 3,000 controllers short across the country right now, and that has been seen probably to the biggest extent at the Philly Tracon, which services the Newark Airport. And so just some background numbers. There's 22 controllers at Philly. There's 5 supervisors. 6 of those 22 controllers are on leave right now. So there's only 16 controllers that work the Philly Tracon. However, there are 16 controllers who are training right now for the Philly at the Philly Tracon for this airspace, and most of them are experienced controllers. And so on a rolling basis, over the next year, we're going to have more controllers come online into the Philly Tracon. In addition, we just brought in another 6 trainees into the Philly Tracon to also train up. So the problem we're seeing with controllers, it can't be fixed overnight. It takes time to train up on this airspace. But we've addressed the problem by bringing more controllers to train up in the Philly Tracon that, again, controls Newark here. And over the course of the next months, you're going to see improvements in this airport, in this airspace. And again, day one, we have the airport. You're going to see improvements, again, in the telecom, and then you're going to see improvements with the staffing issues with regard to controllers. I'm going to turn it over in a second to the Deputy Administrator. But I also, again, I fly out, this is my airport, I fly out of Newark, and I think a lot of people were frustrated by the fact that they were booking flights, and because of the issues we were having, their flights were hours delayed and then maybe even canceled. And all of the airlines came together with the FAA's leadership, and United being the biggest provider, biggest airline here at Newark. They worked together to reduce the capacity at the airport. Again, we're flying 28 flights an hour in regard to departures. And I think the beauty of that is that when you book your flight, you're going to fly. Again, you don't want to book and wait 2 hours to be canceled. If you book, you want your plane to take off. And so we are at an agreement now where, again, if you come to this airport, by the way, Chris or Scott said we got some even better pricing right now at Newark. So if you want to book at Newark, you might get a little better deal if you're coming out of this airport. But if you book, you fly, and that's critical. That's important. And so the message I have for all of you is no one here has created this problem, right? The problem has landed on our laps, but I want you to know that you have every asset that touches the problem working together, coordinating, cooperating, collaborating to make sure that as a team we address the problem that exists at Newark. And by the way, we may see some of these problems happen at other places around the country. And with the same kind of energy and fervor, we're going to address those problems should they come up. And so, again, I'm proud of this team.
You're watching CBS News 24/7. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy there celebrating that a runway is opening ahead of schedule. His words, if you book, you fly. However, we just checked Newark Airport, and as of right now, there are 52 delays. So it's still a problem at this airport at Newark that has really become a symbol for a national conversation that continues right now. CBS News correspondent Tom Hanson joins us. Tom, you are one birthday wiser and one press conference more informed. What stood out to you, my friend?
Oh, yeah. Well, this was really a victory lap for the Department of Transportation. And I'm keeping my voice down, Reed, because they are still going on with this press conference that's happening right now behind me. But essentially, what we heard was a victory lap from the Transportation Secretary, where he was touting the successes of this project, which started in April 15th. It was supposed to end June 15th. Here we are, June 2nd, and the project has already wrapped up. Now, you mentioned those delays, those 50 some odd delays that you said in the intro before you tossed to me. The runway itself has not formally opened just yet. They are in the process of doing that. And once that happens, that will open up yet another key runway. Newark has 3 runways. Eliminating one of them was certainly a challenge that caused a lot of logistical issues for travelers. But I want to give you one idea of just the anticipated uptick of the flights that are going to be able to arrive. Currently, 28 flights an hour arrive at Newark Liberty International. With the addition of this new runway, this new and improved runway, I should say, that number jumps to 34 every hour. So you are going to see an anticipated uptick in the number of arrivals. However, there are still a slew of issues that Secretary Duffy did not beat around the bush about, including the chronic shortages of controllers who oversee this airspace. That is a huge concern for him, something he also says that they plan to address. Reed?
We also know the summer travel crunch is about to be in full swing, and then not long after that, you've got the holidays to look forward to. Are you getting any sense that they'll have these problems fixed to accommodate the summer crunch and then the holidays to follow?
Yeah, well, it's not the most optimistic outlook when it comes to training controllers to be able to perform in the job. Essentially, even when they do make a hire for controllers, which they are in desperate need of, it takes the better part of a year for them to get up and running, to be fully able to carry out the job. And so we're not going to see an immediate change as long as there is a shortage. But Secretary Duffy did say that they have made a hiring push at the Philly location, which oversees this airspace. And he says that they are committed to continuing to hire people to try to fight that shortage, Reed.
Well, and speaking of fighting this, he's right. I've been researching flights into that area, and they are much cheaper going into Newark, perhaps the incentive that Secretary Duffy was talking about. Tom Hanson, always great to talk to you, friend. Thank you so much.